Durable solutions for refugees. For millions of displaced people around the world, the ultimate goal is not just survival, but the opportunity to rebuild their lives with dignity and stability. Durable solutions are essential in moving refugees beyond the confines of emergency assistance and into pathways that support long-term well-being and inclusion. These solutions allow displaced individuals and families to regain a sense of control, identity, and purpose in a world that has, for many, been turned upside down by conflict, persecution, or disaster. The term durable solutions encompasses three main pathways: voluntary repatriation to the country of origin, local integration in the host country, and resettlement to a third country. However, achieving any of these outcomes is complex and often constrained by political, economic, and logistical barriers. This section examines each durable solution in detail, exploring their strengths, limitations, and real-world feasibility. It also considers the wider political context, including the roles of countries like the United Kingdom and broader efforts within the European Union, while stressing the need for enhanced international cooperation to ensure refugees are not left in indefinite limbo. ASTA. Durable solutions provide refugees with a pathway toward reclaiming normalcy and safety in their lives. These solutions are not simply administrative outcomes. They are life-changing transitions that can determine whether displaced people thrive or continue to suffer in marginalization. Voluntary repatriation is often considered the most desirable outcome from a humanitarian and political perspective. It allows refugees to return to their home country once conditions have improved and safety is assured. Ideally, repatriation is accompanied by reintegration assistance, psychological support, and efforts to restore rights and property. However, in many cases, refugees face immense obstacles upon return. Countries plagued by continued instability, damaged infrastructure, political persecution, or ongoing ethnic tensions can make repatriation risky or impossible. Many refugees who return under pressure find themselves redisplaced, especially in regions with weak rule of law and few economic opportunities. The principle of voluntary return, free from coercion or pressure, is also critical. Refugees must be confident that their return will not endanger their lives or dignity. Local integration is another long-term solution that allows refugees to permanently settle in their country of asylum. It involves granting legal residency, access to education and healthcare, employment rights, and eventually, pathways to citizenship. Local integration can be mutually beneficial. Refugees contribute economically and culturally to host societies, often filling labor shortages and revitalizing communities. However, this solution is rarely available in practice. Host countries may lack the financial and social capacity to integrate large numbers of people, and political resistance often hinders such efforts. In some cases, local populations view refugees as competitors for jobs, housing, or public services, fueling xenophobia and policy restrictions. Some countries, such as Uganda and Canada, have implemented relatively inclusive integration models. In the UK, there are formal resettlement and integration programs, including access to housing and support through local authorities and charities. Despite these efforts, challenges remain. Language barriers, delays in asylum decisions, and negative media narratives can limit the ability of refugees to feel fully accepted or to become economically self-sufficient. The integration experience in the UK varies greatly depending on location, availability of community support, and legal status. Resettlement to a third country is the third major durable solution and is particularly vital for the most vulnerable refugees, those facing medical needs, gender-based violence, persecution, or who cannot safely remain in either their home or host country. Resettlement provides refugees with a secure legal status in a new country, allowing them to access education, employment, and long-term stability. Yet this solution is the least accessible in practice. Globally, fewer than 1% of refugees are ever resettled. Countries offering resettlement places, such as the UK, Canada, Sweden, and the United States, set limited annual quotas that often fall short of global needs. In recent years, the UK has introduced several resettlement initiatives, including specific pathways for Afghans, Syrians, and Ukrainians. While these programs represent a commitment to humanitarian values, they have also faced criticism for being overly selective, inconsistent, or bureaucratically slow. In the EU, efforts to standardize resettlement and share responsibilities have been met with mixed success. Disparities between member states in terms of political will and resources have hampered the effectiveness of joint resettlement schemes. Barriers to achieving durable solutions. While the three core solutions offer a framework for moving refugees toward long-term stability, the reality is that few are able to access them easily or at all. A wide range of structural and political challenges limit their effectiveness. One major challenge is the lack of international cooperation and burden sharing. The majority of the world's refugees are hosted in a small number of low- and middle-income countries, often near conflict zones. These countries bear disproportionate responsibility despite having limited capacity to offer long-term support. Meanwhile, wealthier nations, though better equipped to offer durable solutions, often set restrictive asylum policies or cap their resettlement numbers to politically acceptable levels. This imbalance places strain on host countries and leaves many refugees trapped in prolonged displacement. The insufficient funding of refugee programs further undermines long-term solutions. Humanitarian aid is often allocated to emergency relief, leaving little for integration, education, or livelihood support. Refugees in camps may spend years with minimal access to work, training, or healthcare, creating a cycle of dependency that erodes hope and potential. Host countries, particularly those experiencing their own social or economic pressures, may not prioritize or invest in long-term refugee strategies. In many countries, legal and policy gaps also prevent refugees from moving forward. They may be denied the right to work, own property, or access higher education. In the UK and EU, asylum backlogs and lengthy waiting periods hinder timely decision-making and delay integration efforts. Some refugees face years of legal limbo, unable to plan for the future or contribute fully to their communities. Nationalist rhetoric and anti-immigrant policies exacerbate the situation, turning refugees into political scapegoats and obstructing meaningful policy reform. Durable solutions for refugees. The role of the United Kingdom, the UK, has long played a significant role in global refugee protection, both as a resettlement destination and as a contributor to international aid programs. However, its domestic policies have become increasingly restrictive in recent years. While the UK has supported initiatives like the Syrian Vulnerable Persons Resettlement Scheme and launched dedicated routes for Afghan and Ukrainian refugees, these programs have been limited in scope and often hampered by logistical or administrative issues. Asylum seekers in the UK often face long waiting times for a decision, during which they are not permitted to work. Many live in temporary accommodations with limited access to services. Integration efforts vary depending on local authority capacity, and there are gaps in mental health support, employment services, and housing availability. Additionally, recent policies proposing offshore processing or deterrence-based models, such as deportation agreements, have raised serious ethical and legal concerns. For durable solutions to be effective, the UK must continue to uphold its obligations under international law and invest in sustainable integration frameworks. The European Union's approach. The European Union, with its diverse membership and shared borders, faces a complex set of challenges in responding to refugee movements. Following the 2015 refugee crisis, the EU has worked to reform its asylum and migration policies, aiming to balance security concerns with humanitarian obligations. efforts to create a common European asylum system and a shared responsibility mechanism have been hindered by political disagreements among member states. However, the EU has taken important steps in recent years to support durable solutions. These include increased funding for resettlement, support for third countries hosting refugees, and integration projects across member states. Some countries, such as Germany and Sweden, have adopted more inclusive policies and invested significantly in refugee education, housing, and job training. Others remain resistant to accepting refugees or resettling displaced persons from other EU countries, leading to an uneven distribution of responsibility. The EU's long-term success in addressing refugee needs will depend on greater solidarity among its members and a commitment to upholding shared values of protection and inclusion. It will also require collaboration with countries of origin and transit to ensure that repatriation, where feasible, is safe, voluntary, and dignified. Beyond policy and strategy, durable solutions affect real people with unique stories, challenges, and dreams. The experiences of individuals like Amal, a displaced mother from Gaza living in a tent camp, Nu, a Syrian woman working tirelessly in Istanbul, and Alina, a Ukrainian mother trying to restart life in Poland, illustrate the complex emotional and practical journey refugees face. In the UK, stories abound of individuals who, after years of waiting and uncertainty, have built thriving lives through community support and resilience. Others continue to face obstacles due to restrictive policies or social exclusion. Every refugee's path is shaped not only by policies, but also by the compassion, resources, and opportunities available to them. Durable solutions must therefore be more than policy objectives. They must be commitments to restoring dignity and hope. Finding durable solutions for refugees requires more than temporary aid or border controls. It demands global solidarity, adequate funding, inclusive policies, and the political will to address root causes of displacement. Countries like the UK and EU member states have both the capacity and moral responsibility to lead by example. By expanding resettlement quotas, supporting integration at the community level, and working with countries of origin to promote safe repatriation, they can contribute to sustainable, humane outcomes. Durable solutions are not one-size-fits-all. Each refugee's situation is unique, shaped by culture, trauma, opportunity, and family. Whether through return, integration, or resettlement, the ultimate measure of success lies in the ability of displaced individuals to reclaim their agency, rebuild their lives, and contribute meaningfully to society. The global community must ensure that these solutions are not just theoretical ideals, but practical, accessible, and truly transformative.